Once upon a time, high above the sparkling ocean lived a teeny, tiny cloud named Nimbus. Now Nimbus was a very small and fluffy cloud, just like cotton candy. And every day he watched the other clouds lumber past him. "Oh, how I wish I could make rain," he sighed one day as he floated past a field of sunflowers. "I want to water the earth and help grow the flowers and the vegetables and fill up the rivers and the lakes." The other clouds would chuckle at his big dream. You're too small to make rain. Silly Nimbus," they'd say, and then they'd float away, leaving Nimbus feeling sad and alone. So Nimbus spent his days watching the other clouds play. He watched them race each other across the sky, turn into scary storm clouds, and even hide the sun, making nighttime. But when it was time to make rain, he was always left behind because he couldn't make rain. And Nimbus wanted nothing more than to make rain. One day, an idea struck him like lightning. "If I can't make rain," he thought, "then I'm gonna go find someone who can teach me." So Nimbus set off across the sky on his biggest adventure yet. The first place he stopped was the home of the sunbeams. Sunbeams were everywhere. They peeked from behind houses, tickled children at the beach, and danced on the surface of the ocean. "Please, please, please," cried Nimbus. "Teach me how to make rain so I can water the world." But the sunbeams just laughed. "Oh, little cloud, you're too small to make rain," they said. And they skipped away, leaving Nimbus feeling even smaller than before. So Nimbus continued his journey until he reached the whispering wind. The wind was strong and swift and playful, ruffling through the tall grass and making the trees sway. "Please, please, please," begged Nimbus. "Teach me how to make rain so I can water the world." But the wind just laughed. "Oh, little cloud, you're too small to make rain," he said, and he blew away, leaving Nimbus all alone again. Poor Nimbus felt like giving up, but then he saw a shooting star streak across the sky. Shooting stars were rare and magical. "Please, please, please," asked Nimbus as politely as he could. "Teach me how to make rain so I can water the world." The shooting star twirled and shimmered before answering. "Oh, little cloud, you're too small to make rain. But I know someone who might be able to help you." She pointed her twinkling tail towards a faraway land where the mountains touched the clouds. "Thank you," cried Nimbus. And with a determined wiggle of his cloud shape, he headed in that direction. As he flew, he met funny wind sprites who tickled his fluffy bottom, making him giggle as he floated higher and higher. Soon the tall mountains came into view, and there, perched on the highest peak, was a magnificent castle made of pure white clouds. Nimbus had never seen anything like it. Taking a deep breath, he floated towards the castle, his heart pounding with excitement. Suddenly, a booming voice echoed through the sky. "Who dares disturb my slumber?" Startled, Nimbus turned around, and there he saw a huge, dark cloud blocking the face of the sun. It was the biggest and scariest cloud Nimbus had ever seen. "Please, please, please," stammered Nimbus, remembering what he was there for. "Will you teach me how to make rain?" The big cloud rumbled. "I am the cloud collector, keeper of all the raindrops in the sky, and I have been watching you. Little cloud, you have a kind heart, which is clear from the things you do, and I know you will take care of the earth if I teach you my ways. Are you sure you want to learn how to make rain?" "Yes, yes, please," cried Nimbus, his eyes shining with excitement. The cloud collector smiled. "Then let us begin." For days and days, the cloud collector taught Nimbus all about being a rain cloud. He showed him how to gather raindrops, how to move them around, and how to release them onto the thirsty earth. But when it was time to put his lessons into practice, Nimbus struggled. He couldn't gather raindrops. He couldn't move them around, and he certainly couldn't make them fall. "I'm sorry," he sighed, drooping lower and lower. I just can't make rain. I'm too small." The cloud collector placed a comforting hand on Nimbus's shoulder. "Being a rain cloud isn't about your size, little one. It's about what's inside you. It's about your heart." He pointed towards the window. "Look outside." Confused, Nimbus floated over and gasped. Below them, the world was bathed in the most beautiful colors he had ever seen. The sky was filled with streaks of orange, pink, and purple. The tall buildings and trees seemed to glow with warmth, and the fluffy clouds were painted with shades of red and gold. "I didn't realize," whispered Nimbus. "I thought I had to make rain, but I can do this." The cloud collector smiled. "What are you doing, Nimbus?" asked a confused little raindrop. "This is amazing," cried Nimbus. "I'm painting the sunset," and that's exactly what Nimbus did. Every evening, right before the sun dipped below the horizon, Nimbus would gather all the light and color he could find and paint the sky in beautiful hues. He painted sunsets that made people stop whatever they were doing to stare in awe and wonder. He painted sunsets that brought smiles to children as faces and made lovers hold each other a little closer. He painted sunsets that reminded people of the beauty that surrounded them every day. After a while, Nimbus no longer cared that he wasn't a rain cloud. He knew now that he had something just as important, bringing joy and wonder to everyone he saw. One day, the cloud collector came to watch Nimbus paint the sunset. "You have done well, little cloud," he said, placing a hand on Nimbus's shoulder. "You bring happiness to everyone below. And that is a very special gift." Just then, the wind sprite who had tickled Nimbus on his way here floated past. "Hey, little cloud," she called out. "The flowers down there are wilting. Can't you make some rain?" Angrily, Nimbus turned towards her. "I don't need to make rain," he said proudly, "because I paint sunset." Then he turned back to the sky and continued his work. The wind sprite floated closer. "But the flowers need rain," she insisted. "They'll die without it." Suddenly, the memory of the sad sunflowers he had seen earlier came flooding back to Nimbus. He remembered how much he had wished to water them and help them grow. And for a moment, he felt a pang of sadness. Then he had an idea. As soon as the sun dipped below the horizon, Nimbus gathered all his strength and released a gentle shower of raindrops. He made them fall softly onto the thirsty flowers and the dry ground. The flowers gasped with delight as the cool water hit their petals, and the wind sprite watched in amazement as Nimbus continued watering the whole garden. When the last drop fell, the wind sprite floated close to Nimbus. "Thank you," she whispered. "You really helped them." Nimbus blushed, realizing that he didn't need to choose between making rain and painting sunsets. He could do both. And from that day forward, Nimbus became known throughout the sky for his beautiful sunsets and his thoughtful showers. He proved that even the smallest cloud could do great things, and that being a hero was not about size or strength, but about kindness and helping others. And that is the story of Nimbus, the cloud that couldn't make rain, but ended up painting the most beautiful sunsets and watering the world with love.